Hiya, it's Natasha and thank you so much for joining me today. Today I am going to be trying out a technique that I haven't specifically tried before, but I've seen it around a lot and definitely have wanted to give it a go. So today is the day, and this is the stained glass technique. Now I am actually going to do a couple of variations of this just because I wanted to give it a go and to share it with you guys. So I have this word die here, the word love, and this is from scrapbook.com. The dies that you are wanting to use are outline dies. Now I also have this tree here. This is from the Woodlands tree set from Sizzix, and this one is just kind of another example that you can use instead of kind of a direct outline die. But anyhow, I'm starting off with the word love, and what I'm going to do is use some double-sided adhesive sheets today. For this one, I'm using the scrapbook.com ones. I keep all my scraps, and this is a fantastic place that I dive into when I have this little piece of paper here, and I usually have a piece of scrap that is going to fit perfectly behind this. So this has the adhesive already on the underside, and I'm going to run that through my die cutting machine. When I take it out, I want everything to pretty much stay in my piece of paper, and it's going to do that because the scrapbook.com double-sided adhesive is a pretty thick double-sided adhesive. Now these are my TriBlends. I'm going to use some alcohol markers today to do some blending, but I'm also going to use some inks and things to show you on my next example. So there are always lots of different ways to do something. I love these alcohol markers because there are 3 pens in every single barrel. I chose to get this 24 set because this means I am covered. I do not need any more alcohol markers. I knew when I purchased this that this was me. I'm done. And I absolutely love them. Now here where I have my little word die, I'm actually going to use a little bit of low-tack tape on the front here. This is the mint tape, the perfect amount of low-tack tape in my opinion. And I want to take the outline as well as the innards from this die cut. So I want everything all together, and remember it's got that double-sided adhesive on the back, so it's like a big sticker ready to go. And I'm going directly down onto my card base. Now the reason that I'm leaving the little pieces in the inside is because if I were to color through with my alcohol markers onto my card base, then it's going to bleed through onto the inside. So I'm leaving all those little pieces in. I pop down the sticker there effectively, and then I'm going to take off the mint tape, and of course everything is going to stick because the mint tape is just the low tack tape. I'm using the dark red blend, the coral blend, and the orange blend are the 3 that I'm going to use today. I think I used the dark from the red one, I used the dark from the orange one, and then the coral one, I think I used the light part of that one. And this blend does not have to be perfect, as you'll see in a minute. What we're going to do to it is going to help out. However, I mean the colors blended fairly well given that I was going from different pens. Now this is where I have die cut out a couple more of these, and I'm only taking the outline. This is where you need the outline die, and I'm layering this up on top of the old one. Now this does a couple of things. It covers all of that kind of messy coloring that I did, and it also is going to build up a little kind of wall or a border for us to pop something inside of this. So I have chosen to add 2 extra layers, so that there will be 3 layers all together. Remember to put that little bit in the middle of the O as well for both of them. Now this is where you can truly experiment. So first of all, this is the Faber-Castell Glass Bead Glitter Gel. Now I'm not going to use this one today, but this was on my list to try for this technique because it dries relatively clear. It has little fine glitter and very, very tiny glass beads in it. I'm not even sure if this one is still available at the moment, but if you have that in your stash, then that's an option. This is transparent texture paste. Now this one is matte, so remember that when I use this, it is going to dry matte. If you have the gloss one, then that would look really cool too, but this is just what I have, so I'm going to use it. I added the outline there from that scrap piece of paper around the outside, so I'm kind of using it like a stencil. When I pop this through with a palette knife, this means that the outside is going to stay nice and clean and pristine, and I will just be able to lift it off and there will be no mess, and I'm only getting this inside of the letters. So I'm effectively filling up the letters with the transparent matte gel. Now, of course, as I said, this is the matte one, so if you like the glossy look, then go for the gloss, but this is, as I said, what I had. So I'm trying out the matte look for this one. Now the other thing that I thought would be really fun is to fill this up with embossing powder, and then you would need to heat from underneath, and that would probably give you a cool stained glass look as well. So, but I didn't try that one again today. I am going to do another option, and this is the tree that I'm going to be using today to create my second card for you. And for this one, this is the card base that I have here, and just to save a little time, I did run the die through with some of the scrapbook.com double-sided adhesive on the back there, and you can see that I have my tree ready to go. For this one, I also want to keep the pieces on the inside. So this is the 1-inch tape, and I also have the 4-inch tape from the Mint tape. Now these are exactly the same product, except for one is really large and one is 1 inch. So for this one, it was just easier for me to use one of the little larger pieces. And then I'm going to take both the kind of outline and all those little filled in pieces from the tree and just gently remove away the backing, so that now the back of that tree is sticky, and all of that low-tech tape should keep everything exactly in place. Now I'm going to pop this down onto my card base. The card bases that I'm working with today are 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 inches. Of course, you could change this to suit whatever card size you prefer to work with, and have a look through your stash and see what you might be able to use to create this stained glass look in your card making. So you can see it is very white on white at the minute, but that is going to change. Now to color this one in, I'm going to use some Distress Oxide inks. I'm using Twisted Citron, Mowed Lawn, and Rustic Wilderness. Effectively, these are just 3 different shades of green, and these happen to be the ones that I have. To use these, I just kind of squeeze the lid of the Distress Oxide, and then that way some of the ink transfers onto the lid, and I use this a little bit like a palette. Now I'm sure this is not recommended by the manufacturers at all, but I squeeze gently, and this has worked really well for the last couple of years for me. Sometimes if I find I'm not getting enough ink out, then I will just do what I did there and pop it down onto an acrylic block, just kind of smush it down and use that as a palette. So if you're not comfortable giving the lids a gentle squeeze, then definitely just smush them down. And this is kind of like just painting roughly in the little spaces that are going to be seen. I again have die cut out another one, and I'm just removing all those inner pieces because I only want the outline from here on out. And again, it's got the adhesive on the back, so it makes life really easy. You do want to make sure that you push down really, really well once you have the adhesive in place, because we do not want anything leaking out the sides of all of these layers. So sometimes if that's a look that you are going for, if you have like a whole background die, and if you don't push them down, they will leak really nicely. And again, that's a whole nother effect. But for this, I don't want them to leak because I didn't want it to risk it leaking outside to the left and the right of that tree. So I'm pushing it down really, really solidly, and this is what my tree looks like. All of that coloring has been tidied up because we've placed another die cut on top, and I actually placed 2 more on top of our original one. So now there are 3 layers on the top there, and I'm going to use Glossy Accents to create this stained glass look. Now of course this will dry nice and shiny. It does go on a little bit cloudy, but it will dry crystal clear. Now there are other products that are similar to this. I think there's a crystal glaze from Nouveau. There are lots of other products which are similar to this one. So if that's what you have, then just give them a go. And as I said, there are a few other ways that I mentioned earlier in the video which could be fun to try. Now this is the paste once it is all dry. So remember, it's matte, it's not shiny, it's definitely a different look, but I was just experimenting with what I had on hand and I quite like that. Here is the one with the glossy accents. Now I guess this is probably the true kind of stained glass looking effect, but it was fun to try everything. And once I am done with that, I'm going to kind of finish these off into finished cards. So I'm taking both the tree and the word love die, but then I'm also going to take this die here, the word you, from the Thinking of You word die set, and I am going to die cut these out of some plain white cardstock and just run these through with normal. These ones don't have adhesive on the back, although you probably could add adhesive. I just find it easier to do it this way around, but I'm going to pop all of these out, and then just to finish these off, these are the ones that are going to go on top of everything, and I am going to heat emboss these. Now again, you can skip this step. You can choose to keep them white. You could choose to emboss them with perhaps a clear, so they just kind of got glossy and shiny, but today I'm going to use some gold embossing powder, And I do want to make these kind of really juicy and thick. So I have added some VersaMark sticky embossing ink, and then I have coated them once, and I'm going to keep that powder over there on the right hand side. What I do is, if you are quick, then you are able to kind of melt the first layer of embossing powder, and then if you just move over quickly and dip it into the embossing powder before it kind of dries, then you are able to get a whole nother layer on. If you don't want to be quick about it, then you can of course just add another layer of the sticky embossing ink and then dip it back in, and that is going to work perfectly fine too. But by doing this, I'm able to get a really thick layer, and it is really kind of a nice golden and smooth embossing. To adhere these down, I'm just using some of my liquid glue, which is the Ranger Multi-Medium in the matte finish, and I just pop it inside these glue bottles myself, so it's nice and handy. I'm using a makeup sponge to sponge glue onto the back of my die cuts, and then this is going to go down on top of the word. Now, I do need to hold this in place for a little second, so I actually ended up just using an acrylic block and then popped the jar on top of it, just so that it could really set nicely whilst I put the tree on. And I am going to do the same thing for all of these, including the little word U that will go underneath the love. Now, I did just want to quickly mention we reached a big 10,000 members in our Facebook group. Our group is called Come Crafting with Natasha, and we have a most amazing supportive community that we have created over there and built, and we have a giveaway going on to celebrate. So I will post that up within the next day or so. If you would like to find that Facebook page, you can either just search Come Crafting with Natasha, or I will leave a link to it down in the description box below this video. I will also leave links to any of the products that are still available that I have used in today's video. I will leave links to those down in the description box as well, just in case you are interested in checking anything out. Some of those links below are affiliate links, and that means that I get a very small portion of income from the sale of those products. So when you click on those links, that is what helps me out immensely. I really appreciate it. If it's not your preferred shops and things, then I totally understand that, but I'm just letting you know that some of those are affiliate links, and that helps me out a whole lot to run this channel. So I really do appreciate it. However, getting back to this card, I have now got pretty much everything glued on, and I really love the simplicity of these. These are pretty clean and simple cards, I must say, that I'm creating today, but I really like that look, and I had a whole lot of fun creating these. I was running a bit short of time, which is why I didn't get to try the two other ideas that I really wanted to try for these cards, but perhaps I will do that in the very near future. Now, just to finish off these cards, I'm going to do a few more things, of course, and for this one, this is going to be a Christmas card. And I'm going to bring out the stamp set and pop the Merry Christmas on. I'm going to use this, pop this in my stamping platform just because I've already put all of this hard work into the tree, and it is already adhered down to my card base. So I don't want to muck it up at this point, so I was keen to use my stamping platform. This is the Couture Creations stamping press, and I will leave links to it down below. It has been out of stock in a lot of places. However, I think it is coming back in. So check your local places or any of the links that I have left down below. And I also use a sticky grid mat in there to help me out as well. Now, I definitely could have left these cards just here, and they look gorgeous as is, but I need to add just a tiny little bit more. So this is my go-to. I am just going to draw some on-purpose wiggly lines and create a little border. If you had any stamps or anything, then of course you could do that, or if you prefer straight lines, you could use a ruler and create them that way. But I find if I do these lines kind of wiggly on purpose, I really like that look as well. And I just use a fine line marker to go down 2 times across each side and make sure that they join up at the corners, and then that creates a really nice little border without kind of having to do too much effort. I'm going to do the same thing on the Love You card. However, I kind of wished I had done some splatters, some black splatters in the background there, just to kind of include the border and kind of bring in the colors a little bit more, but I decided that I can do them easily with the pen, and it is going to look pretty much the same once I am finished. So I'm just drawing some different size little dots and circles all here, there, and around, and at about this point I was like, did I make the right decision? But once I have added in all of those little dots, then I really like the look of it, and these 2 cards were really fun to make. I think one of the really fun things I like about this technique is that you can kind of choose so many ways to go down. So you could use any of those ideas that I mentioned, any of the 4 ideas to fill the insides of the outline. Yes, I guess they're probably not all true stained glass looks, but it's using the same technique and it's fun to try out. So I hope that you have a look in your stash and see what you've got that you could fill in some of those outline dies. But other than that, thank you so much for joining me today. I really, really appreciate it. Thank you for all of your kind comments down in the comments section. I love reading them and replying to them, so I will see you down there. But thank you so much, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks, bye.